What's good, everyone? So today I'm gonna talk about Asia game in this video. This ain't gonna be on a game bang shit. This is my experience and about all the Asia games that I met in California prison. So I'm gonna start off with Chinese games. As I said before in my other video, there ain't too many Chinese in prison, so there ain't too many Chinese games. Some of the Chinese games that I met is actually from Wang Chang. I met one out of LA. He was locked up for home invasion, but somewhere during time he became a Christian. So he was from Chain out LA. The other Chinese game is KZT out of South Sac. They started out as a Chinese gang, but they're now a mixed Asian gang. And I met two from there. The one that I met was a Min homie, and another one I met is a Hmong homie from KZT. And this Hmong homie right here actually know how to speak Chinese. So that was a surprise to a lot of us. So he was speaking Chinese to a lot of the Chinese homies, and at the same time he was still hanging out with the Hmong people. So that was those two right there. That was a good homie right there. The next one is Vietnamese. So there's a lot of Vietnamese in prison, but there's only a few of them that I got to know and I interact with. Some of them I met was from Vid Boys. I met one from Vid Boys out of Orange County. I met two from Black Dragon out of San Jose, and I met one from A-Dub, Asian Warrior, from San Jose too. The next one is Korean Games. Like I say in my other video, one of my sales was from Mental Boys out of LA, and I met some Korean homies from K-Mob. My study told me that Mental Boys and K-Mob don't get along in the street. Me from being up north, it was surprised to learn about Korean games, and I guess they're not different. I guess they're not any different for other Asian games, because they be going at it with their own kind too. So, and another Korean games that I met is from FMS. Also met a few of them from FMS, and I think they're out of Garden Grove or somewhere in Orange County. One of the Korean homies that I met is from KTG, Korea Tao Gangster. The next one is Laos Gangs, the Laos homies. I met a lot of them from ECC from Sacramento, El Camino Crips. I actually met a homie from ECC. This homie was a rapper, and all the time I block up and all the Asian homies that I met the rap, I have to say he's one of the best Asian rapper that I met. And I mean for all the homies that I did time with, and he was from ECC. Other Laos gang is I met one from LPG, Laos Pride Gang. I met some from LGC, Little Gangster Crip or Laos Gangster Crip. They from Sacramento too, as well as LPG. Oh yeah, some other Laos gang that I met from Stockton is AG, Asian Gangster. And I know they beef with BLB, Badland Boys. And when I got it, the first prison I ever went to was Tracy, and the first homie that I ever met was actually a Laos homie from BOB. And now that one of my sellers was also from BOB. And what he told me is that AG and BOB are actually cousins. So that was a surprising thing to learn about. And AG, even though AG is mostly Laos, I know they have other Asian in their gangs too. Because when I came out, I met two more homies from AG. Yeah, so, and another Laos gang is, oh yeah, there's some Laos gang. No, that's not it. Let me see. Oh yeah, let's Laos gang out of San Diego, OMC, Oriental Mob Crip. I actually met two. I met one that was a younger cat, and I met an older cat. And the older cat, he told me that when they started banging, it was just Oriental Mob. There was no Crip. So the whole Crip thing, the whole OMC thing, was actually a younger generation thing. And I also met some from OKB. I don't know too much about OKB. I think it's a Laoskian, but at the same time, I'm not sure because the two homies that I met from there are actually Vietnamese. So I met two Vietnamese from OKB. So if I have to guess, I probably think they're a mixed age gang. But I've heard that they mainly are mainly Laos people in it, which stand for OKB. Went to Killer Boys. I met one Laos homie from LC, Laos Crips, out of Fresno. I was actually surprised that there's some gang called Laos Crips out of Fresno because I heard of Laos Bloods, but never Laos Crips. So yeah, I only met one from LC. So the next one is Cambodian. So this may not be no surprise to most of y'all, but the most Cambodian game that I came across was TRG and ABZ. And I don't met them in like a lot of different towns. I don't met ABZ and TRG from Long Beach, LA, Stockton, Sacramento, Fresno, and TRG out of San Diego too. And like I said, there's a lot of them. Even though it's mostly Cambodian and TRG and ABZ, there are other Asian that's also in TRG and ABZ, like Laos, Vietnamese, Chinese, and even Hmong. And I know that ABZ, some of them being Crips, and TRG, I know there's a fair few that being Bloods, but most of them represent black and gray. I know majority of them wear black and gray, and it's fun because how a lot of us like to watch football. And I remember whenever there's football season in prison, the ABZ homies will cheer for the Cowboys, and the TRG homies will cheer for the Raiders. So I know the ABZ cheer for Cowboys because it got the word boys in it, which is also the same, and it's similar to Asian boys. And I know TRG homie cheer for the Raiders because it represents black gray, and that's actually where they got the black gray from. And I know, and one of the reasons is because the Raiders actually have a meaning for them, and they actually mean remember as I die, every rest could survive. That's what I learned about from the homies. So other Cambodian game that I came across is CBC, Crazy Boys Clan. They started as cold-blooded Cambodians, but now they call Crazy Boys Clan, and it's mainly Cambodians, but they also have other Asian in their gang. One of the homies that I met from CBC, he told me a little bit about his case, and he said that when he got locked up, his boy snitched on him. His road dog told on him, and he was surprised because he said they did hell dirt together, and he did hell dirt in front of him. So when they got caught, he really didn't expect his boy to tell on him. So he was really surprised, and he did not see it coming. And when it comes to the street, it be like that, you know what I mean? Because it's easy to be homies. It's easy to be road dog when we doing all this stuff together and no one get caught, you know what I mean? But when you get caught, you see your homies' true colors, and you start to see who's solid and who's not, you know what I mean? Because when they pressing you with a lot of times and with that life, some people will fold up, you know what I mean? Some people will hold it down, some people will fold up, and like I said, you really start to see what the word homies really mean. And sometimes it don't mean nothing, honestly. Sometimes the word homies don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? So that's just, honestly, when you think about it, that's how the street is right there. So another Cambodian gang that I met is C-Dub, CWA, Crips with Attitude. Also, they also started out as Cambodians with Attitude. I met some from San Jose, and I met some from Modesto, because I know one of the life of homie that I met was from CWA. So like I say, they also go by C-Dub with CWA. They mainly Cambodians, but they also have Asian in their gangs too. Another Cambodian gang that I met is Loketown Crip out of Stockton. SLB, Stockton Local Boys. I know they blood. One of them was actually my celly. who other Cambodian games there? Oh yeah, OB or Winter Bloods. I know they got the little homies from IBG, Insane Blood Gang. I actually met one of them from there. Um, Winter Boys, OBS out of San Diego. One of the Cambodian life that I met was actually from OBS, and he was a buff ass homie. That Cambodian homie was hell to buff. I also met a Cambodian homie from AC, Asian Crips, out of Stockton. What's funny is that there's a AC out of Fresno, but they're all Hmong. And there's another AC out of San Diego, and they Vietnamese. And all these three AC, they're all different from each other, and they're all not connected. So it's funny how that is, and it was a surprise to a lot of us homies, because we didn't know that there was that many different type of AC. And sometimes we would just think like, why don't they all just link up? Since they all represent AC, since they all represent Asian Crips. But we understand that everybody's their own thing, their own herd. But we're just fun and learning about that. Like Asian Crips out of Stockton or Cambodian, Asian Crips out of Fresno or Hmong, and Asian Crips out of San Diego and Vietnamese, and they're all different AC and they're all not connected. They're all not from the same gang. I met two homies from OCG. We went to Crip gang out of Stockton. I met a Cambodian homie from OCG, and I met a Vietnamese homie from OCG. I did met some from OLB. We went to Lazy Boys. I don't know too much about OLB, but I think it's a mixed Asian gang. And because I remember I met a Chinese homie from OLB. I met 3 homies from OT. I met a Cambodian homie from OT. I met a Lao homie from OT. And the first homie I met from OT was actually half white and half Samoan, and he was from OT, Oriental Troops. I almost forgot, another Cambodian gang that I did time with is from LCF, Little Crip family, out of San Jose. They're the little homies of CWA. And I'm actually looking out one of them homies from LCF, and he's doing life. He used to be my celly, and it's like I say, cool ass homie. When I got locked up, he was locked in too. And like I said, he was my celly. He came out, went home while I was still doing time. I heard he caught a case. Now the homie's doing life, and I'm really sad to hear that, because the homie was very smart. And like I said, when he was in prison, he was staying college course and all that. And ain't too many homies did that. So I really thought that he was gonna stay out. So but the homie made a mistake. I ain't gonna judge the homie. So like I say, I'm gonna look out for the homies. Even though he's doing it all the time, I'm still look out for the homies, because then like I say, I'm the type of homies, when I come out, I don't forget about the homies that I did time with, that I was cool with. So I feel like I gotta look out for them, because how can I act like I don't know what it's like? So I feel their pain, I feel their struggle. Another Cambodian gang that I came across is AS Dub, Asian Streetwalker. They Crips out of Stockton. One of my cellies was from AS Dub, and he was a lifer, and he did the mow on my chest. So shout out to that homie that's doing life on Biggie. They did the tattoo on my chest. He actually got locked up. He was 18 when I met him. I think he was 24, 25, and he's actually doing 40 to life. So that was a cool homie right there, and I hope he'll come home soon too, even though he's doing life, because I know they changed the law with all that shit. So next one is the Filipino, the body homies. I met some I met one for B&G from Stockton. I also met one from Jeff Walks in LA. It's not Body Young. It's actually one of his homies. But most of the body gangs that I met was actually from Santa Ana, STS. I met a lot of them from LA and San Diego. So those are the majority of the body gangs that I came across when I was doing time in California. So the next homies is the men gangs. I didn't meet too many men gangs. I met one from NPG. I actually thought that I would meet more NPG, because that was the first men gang that I heard from growing up. So I was very surprised. I only met one my entire time. I met one from NPH, Men Brotherhood. they bloods, and that homie was doing hell of time. That was a cool ass homie, but he was doing hell of time. He was doing like over 20 something years. I did met some from SBB, segment of Bad Boys, they bloods. They mostly men, but they also have other Asian in their gang, and they even have blacks in their gang. Cause I met one black. He was from SBB, and this black dude right here, who's not your typical black guy, cause he knew a lot about Asian gangs, and he knew a lot about Asian people in general. So, like I said, segment on Bad Boys, they bloods. But most of the main homie that I met was from SOD, Son of Death, out of Richmond. Those are the most main gang that I came across, and those are the ones that I mostly got close to and mostly I talked to. They bang Crips. They mainly main gang, but they also have other Asian too, like Laos and Vietnamese. So shout out to all the homies from SOD. Cause a lot of them was doing time, and a lot of them came home. So that's a cool homies right there. That's some cool ass main homies right there. So the next one is Hmong gangs, which is what I am. This topic may be controversial because me being Hmong ain't not how my people are. But here we go anyway. So this may be no surprise, but the most Hmong gang, the deepest Hmong gang that I met at California prison was actually MOD, Menace of Destruction, originally known as Master of Destruction, and they majority bloods. The second deepest Hmong gang that I met, which is my hood, HNS, Hmong Nation Society. And a lot of because there's so many MOD and HNS in California prison, sometimes the Asian homies would just ask me like, "Hey, which one are you, MOD or HNS?" So, so I actually met one of the MOD lifer. He told me that when MOD started, they started in Fresno, went to Merced, went to Stockton, and then they went to Sacramento. And I went like this, and I heard this from the MOD lifer, and he be locked up the early '90s. So and with HNS are from Oroville, Marysville, Sacramento, and Stockton. Oroville and Marysville is pretty much all bloods, and Sacramento and Stockton is mainly Crips. They still have some bloods, but it's mainly Crips. And it's funny because every town seems to have a different history when it comes to HNS. So if I have to say what's the third deepest Hmong gang California prison, it probably is MBS, Mongolian Boys Society. And I know they bang bloods. I know they didn't always bang colors, I think, but I know that they bang bloods. I know that the Lahu homies bang Crips. I met a lot of them, especially a lot of MBS that I met actually was doing time since the 90s. So they like the third deepest Hmong gang that I came across in California prison. So the next one, and this is not in order no more. I also met JCC. I met quite a few. I probably met like 4 or 5 of them. JCC, Julian Criminal Crips. They are the little homies of USC, Unstoppable Crips or Unstoppable Criminals. I met some USC homies too, and when I met them, they be doing time since the 90s too. Another Hmong gang is I met one from HBO, Homeboys Only, and he was like in his 30s. I must say like mid 30s or older, and he told me a little about his case. See, he said that when he got locked up, his little homie snitched on him. Because he told me a story that when the little homie was struggling, he was helping out the little homie who was giving him a place to sleep, gave him some food, gave him some clothes to wear, and he gave him some drugs and money to get back up on his feet. So the little homie started pushing, started hustling, and when the little homie got caught up, he told him who was connect. So the police hit up the HBO homie, hit up the OG HBO house, and they found him. And they found some stuff, and he got locked up. and he was hella confused, you know what I mean? And I could see in his eyes that he was confused and hurt. You know what I mean? I just meant he's saying that he didn't understand because he helped the little homies and this how the little homies do him. So, and the game be fucked up like that. You know what I mean? The game, that street life is really just fucked up like that, and it's really just countless like that. Other Hmong games that I met is from oh yeah, I met some from URC, unknown regulated crew. I even met one URC. He got like blood tatted on his stomach. So you know, there ain't too many of them, but I did meet a few of them. Other Hmong that I also met is True Blue. I met one more homie from True Blue, and I met another one from True Blue, and he was actually half white and half Laos. So that homie that was claiming True Blue. Um, I never met an AC homie. Surprisingly, I never did because I really thought I was going to meet them. But it's crazy how the whole 10 years I never came across them. But I know they are there because I would hear about them from other homies. And I know they're all AC homies that's doing life. I met a mall homie from Oriental Lokes. He been doing time since the 90s. And he's doing hell of time. I don't know the homie came out already, but when I met him, he was doing like, he got like over 20 something years. Also met one homie from when I was in tracing reception from SMC, Second Minutes Crew or Second Minutes Crip. And I only met one SMC, that's it. After that, I never came across no SMC. I also met some homie from NBC, Minutes Boys Crew. They being Crips. They originally stood for Midsville Boys Crew, but they switched it to a Minutes Boys Crew. There was one that I met, one of the ABC homies that I met. He had the same first name as me, but different last name. And he was out in Arizona. We was on the yard, and we both had a shirt off, and we had the same tattoo on our chest, Mom, HMOOB, on our chest. And he was like, "Hey, why you got the same tattoo like me? Why you copy me?" The homie was just joking. Now it's like, man, you copy me. So that was hella funny right there. Cause first, like, we all like, damn, we got the same first name, and now we got the same tattoo on our chest, and it's spelled Hmong too. So, and the homie would just tell me that he said the reason I got it tatted on my chest because like I always see the homies got it like got Hmong tatted on their stomach or tatted on the back or tatted on the arms, but I never see they got it tatted on the chest, so that's why I got Hmong tatted on my chest. And I was like, man, that's the reason why I got it tatted on my chest too. So, and that was cool, homie, and because he was very good doing portrait, and he did a Tupac portrait for me. You know what I mean? Because that's my favorite rapper. So he did a Tupac portrait for me, and that was hell of love right there. You know what I mean? Because he was from the opposite gang. So I really appreciate when the homie did that for me. You know what I mean? So in kind of so like I say in California prison, it doesn't matter what gang you're from. It's all love. Whenever I meet a mom homie from TRG, ABZ, or other Asia gang, they would tell me that one of the reason why they joined those Asia gangs it was because they didn't want to fight or shoot their own people. You know what I mean? To me, that was the real shit. The one thing that I noticed about most of the Hmong gangs that there's one tattoo that we all have, and that is HMOOB. You know, we all have that Hmong tattoo on us. It doesn't matter if you MOD, HNS, NBC, NBS. A lot of Hmong homie, a lot of Hmong gangs in there, they have the tattoo Hmong. And I realize that that's one thing we all have in common. It doesn't matter what gang you're from. Even people who don't gang bang, it doesn't matter where anybody from. We all have that one. We have one thing in common. And it is those 5 letters, HMOOB. So this is all the Asian gangs that I did time with the California prison. So just be reminding everyone in California prison, there ain't no set tripping. We all homies. All the Asian gang, we all become one gang. All the blood and cuts, it go outside the window. Normally we all homies and we all run together. We all help each other. I mean, so shout out so to all the Asian homies that's doing time. I hope you guys come home soon. I hope you get out one day. You know, man. Hope y'all get through this bullshit. You know, through these hard times, and so you can come home and spend time with your family, cause that's what matters the most. So before I head out, before I end this video, I just want to tell everyone: stay safe, stay out of trouble, stay out of the way, and stay out of prison. Peace, y'all.